Have you ever heard that the price of food went down? Well, there was that time when disease made tomatoes become more expensive than strawberries. And after much intervention, the price went down, but generally, the price of food goes up and just stays up. The problem is, this increase is not commensurate with an increase in income for the consumer. So it just makes life hard. While our focus on the FCT examines this continuous hike in the price of food and its impact on the Nigerian, and what policies the incoming government should put in place to fix the core of this problem, we go back to the cautiously celebrated Easter holiday in the nation's capital and how the cash crunch, the elections, and the festivities have caused a hike in the price of food. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's begin with a reminder of what stories top news headlines this week in our Abuja Wrap.
The Federal Executive Council has approved the provision and installation of baggage scanners in railway stations in Abuja and Kaduna at a cost of 495 million naira. The Minister of State for Transport, Mr. Ademola Adegoruyi, stated this at a briefing after the council meeting presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. He notes that the device had become imperative because of the need to advance the security of lives and property in the nation's railway facilities and in continuation of the railway revolution.
We are starting the railway revolution. We are trying to put in place a lot of things in the railway. We don't want people to come and damage all that government has been trying to put in place in that sector. And so today, there was a memo before council for the provision of baggage scanners at railway stations. And the scanners cost 495 million naira.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, has expressed dissatisfaction with the level of construction work on the permanent site of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. Speaking during an on-the-spot assessment of the project in Abuja, Mr. Gbajabiamila says President Muhammadu Buhari will commission the 50 billion naira project situated along the airport road in Abuja in 30 days.
I'm very disappointed that we're still at this stage and that there's nobody working.
Stakeholders in the information and communications technology sector have identified digitization of the governance process as the cure for corruption in the various sectors, from contract inflation to oil thefts. Some discursants made the assertion while speaking at a stakeholders forum on economic digitization in Abuja. The event, which also witnessed the signing of a partnership agreement between NEGST Technologies Limited and Visa Incorporated, is aimed at strengthening the digital infrastructure of Nigeria.
The world is moving to digital economy and information technology. Therefore, this is a step in the right direction for the development of our economy. I welcome the management of Visa Incorporated to Nigeria, and I sincerely appreciate your belief in investing in this country. You can be rest assured that your investment and your interest in Nigeria would achieve success, I assure you.
The full disclosure and transparency in terms of contracts and information on the processes in the execution of operations in Nigeria's extractive industry is crucial in ensuring that Nigerians benefit from the exploration of our abundant resources. The Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, Mr. Agbonaya Oji, made this disclosure at a policy dialogue engagement on utilizing beneficial ownership data in the fight against corruption in the oil and gas industry.
The volume of crude oil losses represent a loss of more than 140,000 barrels per day. Between 2009 and 2018, Nigeria lost 4.2 billion liters of petroleum products from refineries valued at $1.84 billion.
The Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria is raising alarm over increased rates of land-grabbing syndicates in the nation's capital. Addressing the media in Abuja, the president of the association, Mr. Aliu Omaku, warned members of the association not to engage in any form of unethical dealings in the business of housing development. He advised anyone interested in procuring land to get it genuinely by approaching the government or the owners and not encroach on land which is not legally acquired.
Paramount amongst our concern in the FCT is adherence to the maintenance the Abuja Master Plan as designed and reviewed by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. In addition to this, we urge members to comply with the other extant laws on money laundering, counter-terrorism, reporting transactions as stated by the Special Control Unit of Money Laundering and Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. Members shall note that any established deviant behavior from anybody, whoever he is, shall be met with stiff sanctions, which may involve removal from the registry and register of radon, and also blacklist him. Such report escalates to government agencies for information, record, and further actions.
Welcome back. It was a cautiously celebrated Easter here in Abuja, understandably so. The cash crunch, the elections, and the regular hike in the price of food items every festive season came together to ensure a cautious celebration. In this report, we look at the Easter messages sent by government officials and religious leaders, and how the various circumstances caused a hike in the price of food and the impact this is having on residents of the nation's capital. Easter celebrations in the nation's capital were observed cautiously as residents are just recovering from a cash crunch that threatened to devolve into violence in many parts of the territory, and an election that had residents on edge, nursing fears of a breach in the peace Abuja residents have become accustomed to since the year 2023 began. Delivering their Easter messages at the Villa Chapel, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, reiterate the message of love and sacrifice the season brings.
It's a message of the amazing love of Jesus Christ, the amazing love of God, that He gave up His Son so that you and I will not have to pay again for our sin.
Christ came into the world and gave His life sacrificially for the redemption of mankind. What that teaches us is that we must sacrifice for each and everyone. We must sacrifice for our communities and for our nation. The second lesson is the legacy of legacy. When He was living, He gave a great commission, and He said, "Go into the world, preach the gospel to everyone." So we have a duty as believers, as Christians, to make sure that everyone hears about the gospel, the redemption gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. So these are two strong messages that I will leave with Nigerians today.
Several denominations use the opportunity of Easter to pray for the country, especially in the light of the challenges being faced by Nigerians in areas of security and the economy.
Just wiping tears away from the eyes of people. Everything that tears, let the Lord wipe it away from us.
Religion binds people together. Religion brings people together. But when you go and plot against your brother, either in your worship place, or you decide you are going to, really do something that will demobilize your brother or sister, and you are doing this in the name of religion, you are not doing religion. You are doing politics, and you are also involved in the act of criminality. Let us use religion like Jesus did. We were told He went about doing good. That is the meaning of religion. Go about doing good.
It gives us hope that the afflictions and sufferings and the challenges that we are passing through will not finish us. It will not be our end. Rather, because Jesus died and rose again, we have hope that the Lord will break every yoke and He will give life to us and our nation.
In the light of what we are going through as a people, as a nation, I believe that the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead is a clear confirmation that the triumph of evil over good is always temporal. So the message is simple. Truth cannot be buried. And no matter what you do, at the appropriate time it will resurrect.
The hope for better days ahead. It's a concept many Nigerians, including residents of the nation's capital, hold on to. That hope brought them out to these fun spots to hang out with friends and family. But the difficulties faced by residents is not lost on the people, even as they celebrate.
Every day the price is shooting up. Things you buy today, tomorrow you come, you don't get it at the same price. I don't know what is really happening. We thought maybe because of the election has come and gone, but then things are not still coming down. They are still on the high price.
Few of the things, their price is changed though. Yeah, so but not ordinarily. Every other thing is the same. Is still the same price since the scarcity of cash. For example, the gari that increased in price. The price is not coming down again since that scarcity. Then some other few stuff that increased too. But we are fine. We are surviving.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the annual inflation rate in Nigeria accelerated for the second month to a near 17.5-year high of 21.91% in February of 2023, from 21.82% in January, surpassing market expectations of 21.85%. Prices of food, which is the most relevant in the CPI basket, climbed to 24.35% in February, after jumping by 24.32% in January, partly due to the scarcity of the redesigned Naira notes and amid persistent food shortages. The annual core inflation rate, which excludes farm produce, eased slightly to 18.84% in February from a 16-year high of 19.16% in January. On a monthly basis, consumer prices rose by 1.71%, slowing from a 1.86% increase in the prior month, which was the strongest in almost 16 years. In the local markets, consumers and sellers groan at the increased price of food items.
I don't know what has happened for Nigeria now. Every day, the item they increase. During December, they say it's like this one, but they sell on 33, 32. So now 37, what they say.
It has affected everybody, not even only me, everybody. For example, last week I bought a egusi 2,002, and as of today I'm buying it 2,500. This beans now I want to buy, I bought it last week. I measured it for 650. Now I came, he's telling me it's 800, and I'm still bargaining with him. You see, things are very costly.
But I know the costly of the thing is, I think it should be because one, those people, they pay transport to go and bring the goods. And since they don't have cash to pay, some of them will go, things that they should buy like let's say like 50,000, they end up, because they don't have the cash, they end up buying like 20,000, because people in the bush market doesn't collect transfer. Even those in the city, the transfer they make to you, you cannot get it. It does not drop in your account.
Things are getting more higher every day. Every day. Before we are dealing about transfer, mainly we finished transfer, people were crying for money, no cash. Things were very, very low. You can go in and you buy things very cheap. Immediately they release the small money they hold on. Everything begins to increase every day. Look at Gary, something that poor man get easily to eat. Now Gary white is 500, red is 600 naira, bag is 28,000. So please, we are linked to the government. I don't know, you people who can talk to them. Things are getting too hard for the poor ones. A woman with 6 children cannot feed them again with 1 model of Gary.
Now things are increasing. Even if we go to buy, we buy costly, and that is the reason. Sometimes when we want to sell, we sell it costly too. So it's not our wish to sell things costly, but it depends where we buy in the market. That is the reason we can add some change to sell, at least to make up our profit and get back the money we used to buy.
These are trying times for the Nigerian. While food prices and other commodities continue to rise, these increases are not commensurate with a hike in the income of the Nigerian. This, in many ways, reduces their quality of life and calls to question the sustainability of their life in the country. With every national event, religious celebration, worldwide event, or even government agency impasse, the first casualty is a rise in the cost of food items, which Nigerians have to bear. Residents of the nation's capital are used to taking things in stride and rolling with the punches, with high hopes for a better future. However, a lasting solution is crucial, as these economic challenges can only be endured for so long. My My guest on the program is a renowned senior economist, Mr. Paul Alaje. He helps us understand the hows and whys around the hike in the price of food and what any right-thinking government should be doing to help the situation right now. Mr. Paul Alaje, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you so very much for having me.
The last time we spoke, we were facing a downtime in our economy.
Yes.
And many people say we're there again, or we are on our way there with everything that's going on. Let's talk about the current inflation figure for the country. The first quarter is over. We're in the beginning of the second quarter. What's been happening really since 2023 started?
Well, the beginning of 2023, we've continued to see higher inflation. We have started seeing inflation. It has remained double digits. And beyond double digits, it has even gone beyond 11, 12, 13, 14. Now we are over 20% inflation. And the projection that is made even by the latest KPMG report is that by the end of the year, we should still be having over 20% inflation figures. The National Bureau of Statistics is also reporting higher than 20% inflation figures. What it means is that by the end of the year, anyone with 100 naira, the value of the money will become 80 naira, even though the signature by Mr. Emefiele will still be 100 naira notes. So it's not about the face value of the money, it's about what the money can buy. So your money in your pocket, 1st of January 2021, by December 2023, it will buy less than what 40 naira will buy. It will be buying approximately 30 naira worth of commodities.
Why is this happening?
It is happening because prices of commodities are increasing. Poor exchange rates. So when people talk about increase in prices, people wonder what has the exchange rate to do with increase in prices. I will explain to you. You want to buy corn by the roadside, and the person selling corn says, oh, last year when it was the season, you bought it at 50 naira. Now it's selling at 70 naira. And you're wondering, what happened? Inflation happened to it. Exchange rate happened to it. You say, but you don't need dollars to import corn. Yes, but there is need for PMS. We have crude oil, but we don't have PMS. PMS needs to move it from somewhere in the bush to where they are roasting it. So then the guy selling, let's even assume that he carries it on his head. What if we use the money to buy? PMS is responsible, other imported good is responsible. So because he lives in the same economy where inflation is ravaging, for him to keep living, he needs to factor in inflation. If not, it will be working and be becoming poorer. You want to say he's earning well, or somebody earning 250,000 naira per month, you say he's earning well. So, but if you earn that in 2021, and you are earning the same, that's January 2021, and you are earning the same by December 2023, you have lost 60% of the value of that same money. And this is inflation figures, because he's losing 20% per annum, 2021 December 20% gone, 2021 December 2022 20% gone, 2023 December 20% gone. That is why the money in your pocket, you suddenly realize that if you are spending 2 months to pay your house rent, now you need about 3 months, 4 months to pay your house rent. Unfortunately, organizations cannot also increase salaries permanently. Why? Because they are in the same economy, sales is dropping, and that is why we say that economic quagmire, it's a macro phenomenon that you must study carefully.
Because with every celebration in Nigeria, with every event that happens in Nigeria, for some reason, the price of food goes up. And sometimes I used to think it was the traders that were doing this. I didn't, sometimes I would know, okay, if there's a fuel scarcity or if the price of fuel is giving us some issues, I know that prices will go up. But when it comes to, it's Easter, for some reason, the cost of rice is higher. It's the elections, for some reason, the cost of rice is higher. When it's time for the cashless policy, there's a cash crunch. For some reason, are these things related?
Okay, so a lot of relationship. First of all, I will talk about the festive season. Festive season, there is demand surge. So many people wanting to buy at the same time. It will send signal to sellers and they control supply side. They may decide, especially when the supply is limited or when the supply is constant, automatically price will go up.
What should the next administration be doing? What policy should they put in place to cushion the effect of this problem and, to see that food security is ensured in Nigeria and that the price of food doesn't break the back of the Nigerian?
I want the next administration to know that we have seen countries, bigger countries, face worse situation. Productivity level is very low in Nigeria. And I will give you an example. Let me use something as example. Employment rate. Nigerian population, I'm happy we're about to do another census, is estimated to be 216 million. But let's leave 200, let's say 210 million. People that constitute labor force, that is people that are able to work, people that can work, people that should be working, not people that are actually working. We call them labor force. They are less than 70 million. So let's be charitable and say they are 70 million. When you find the difference between 210 million and 70 million, you have 140 million. Those guys are doing nothing. They are either too old to work or too young to work. So from this 70 million, you have nearly 33%. Slash that into 3. 1/3 of that number, over 23 million. Add it to 140 million. You now have approximately 160 million people that are redundant in this economy. What it means is that only 45 to 47 million are the one working for 200. How do you get productivity? First thing the president-elect and the team must ensure is that there is power supply in some production zones. How they are going to do it, it's not rocket science. Europe achieved this within 3 to 4 years. You must also reduce import, especially when you have resources. And what is a major contributor to our import? PMS. How do we make refinery functional? The 4 refineries that federal government has that has been trying to turn around but have refused to turn 1 inch, give it to private sector. Give about 60% to 70% of the shares to private sector. Private sector know there is no profit if they don't produce. It won't be that government is encouraging us. No, government must take the lead. Not for government to farm directly, but government must make policy on how this will happen. And what will be the policy? Farm settlement, organized farm settlement. Government presence will be there with corpers. If you are truly serving Nigeria, you don't go to Antepat Nursery and Primary School. You go to organized government farm. So the only thing they may be doing is just to produce rice paddy. The only thing they'll be doing is just to produce oranges. But whatever it is that we are importing, how do we create substitute to these farm centers? And you will see tremendous output. That is when you can celebrate sustainable rice pyramid. That is when we can go back to what we used to know the northern Nigeria for.
But the country is different, Paul.
It is different.
Because you're looking at it from the side where all of us are on the same page and we're trying to grow our country. That's on paper. Many people have been disappointed by government over the years. All they want to do is leave.
We had a chance. We had a chance on the 25th of February. So we cannot hide behind a finger and say that, oh, things don't work. That is why everyone was encouraged to come out on the 25th of February to vote for the new leader, because that is now our chief economist. Our country cannot go beyond the idea of him and his men. So it's important for the president-elect to know that he has a chance now to develop Nigeria.
That's all the time that we have. Paul Alaje, thank you so much for being with us on Dateline Abuja. And there's a lot coming up in the next few years. And good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. It does feel like as a people we react to situations as opposed to being prepared for them and putting things in place to prevent them from happening. While it's impossible to look at Nigeria's rising food crisis and ignore the impact of the Russian war on Ukraine and its impact on wheat importation, for instance, the impact of COVID-19 on agricultural sectors, energy and food industries across the world, and climate change. In fact, according to United Nations World Food Programme, the overall effect of inflation, war, and extreme weather has been that many people around the world have had their access to food restricted. The number of people facing severe food insecurity is up 20% since the war began. It is precisely because of this that governments all over the world are doing everything to ensure food security in the coming years, preparing buffers to cushion the impact of these elements on their people. Nigeria adds to these challenges insecurity, fuel scarcity, electricity shortage, and a foreign exchange problem. There is a need for urgent action before we are met with a situation that cannot be helped. Nigerians famously refer to themselves as the happiest people on the planet because we can roll with the punches when the going gets tough. It is important to note that rolling with the punches doesn't mean the same thing as not getting hit. The concussion from these hits will come later. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhoods using the social media handle showing right now on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Megwa. See you next time.